Good Tuesday morning. I'm Tyler Kieft in the studios of 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. This is the Oakland County Megacast. In addition, today, as always, we are broadcasting on Birmingham Area Municipal Access on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99 on 88.1 WBFH, The Biff. And today, our Facebook partner of the day is Oakland University. As always, I'm joined from her home studio by Ronnie Dahl.
Hey, Tyler, happy Tuesday to you.
Tuesday
and people only knew what went on actually behind the scenes trying to get this on. So, I've been working from home, and I think so many people can relate to what I'm going through is trying to connect your computer and get the right angle, but then add a mic and then add a light. And when you work off of a Mac, or a Mac laptop, they only give you one USB port,
right,
which is another reason why I'm ready to break up with Mac and Apple. 2021 is going to be my year, Tyler, to say goodbye.
Oh, wow. Watch out, Tim Apple. Ronnie's breaking up.
But everything is so sensitive, and if you touch it just slightly, and my husband he's amazing at trying to help me get the lighting right. Because what you see on the computer screen is not what you actually see on TV. So you're trying to get it all right. But I love him for doing it. I will tell you, because he's just trying to help us out. But this can be a little frustrating, all this technology wise. And I'm just thinking, this is just me in my little home office. I can't imagine what it's like for schools and some of these major corporations.
Yeah, it's got to be really tough for them because this is not their forte. This is not what they deal with every single day. And having to, of course, change the entire format of how they do their job to being virtual, you have to be able to know this kind of stuff in order to be able to troubleshoot issues that come up with, of course, your students and your teachers, but also at an administrative level and shut things down when they need to be shut down, or rearrange things when they need to be rearranged, switch things around, should that have to be the case. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can dig yourself even further down the rabbit hole and have even more to troubleshoot. So it's really tough for us. It's got to be even tougher for people in schools and other industries that have not always had a virtual element to them in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and we've said before, the real heroes in this pandemic, the IT people for schools and corporations and businesses, and even just your home IT person, which it could be your 12 or 13-year-old son or daughter. So we want to say thank you to all of the people out there who are tech savvy, because you are very much needed in the middle of this pandemic.
Yeah, the number of times that I've called our IT guy at Civic Center TV, Eugene, and said, hey, something's not working. We've had a breakdown, but it's okay. We only have 30 seconds until this production. What can we do? And still somehow found a solution that got us on the air in time. It's been insane. And so, yeah, the IT people on everyone's teams need an extra thank you this holiday season, and going into 2021 need some more appreciation for what they do.
Most definitely. So Santa's listening, by the way. I'm pretty sure Santa's listening. So
always.
Santa, all the IT people, please give them a little extra gift in their stocking this year. So, hey, great to have you with us, though, on the Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. We have a lot to get to on today's show. And as a quick reminder for everyone, Tyler, just to let them know, we're doing a little bit of a holiday hiatus. Do you want to talk about what's going to be going on when we leave? Because we'll do tomorrow's show and then we'll be off until after the first of the year.
Yes, we will be replaying some of your favorite interviews from recent shows. Kind of a best of show with more of a holiday theme that will take us through, of course, the Christmas holiday later on this week and through the early parts of next week and the new year. And then we will return with new episodes on Monday, January 4th, 2021, right here on Lakes FM and on the Biff on Birmingham Area Municipal Access. Now, in the meantime, you can still listen to that new episode every day from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. It will also be re-airing on the Biff during those times as well. Of course, they may change their times for the Megacast during that break as well as they see fit. We will send them that episode, and I've been assured by their station manager, Ron Whittables, that they will play that episode. And that will, of course, return in January. So you'll see some new faces. Probably see Erica Jones coming back and hosting that holiday special for you right here from in our Lakes FM studio. And, of course, we got one more new episode for you this year after today's very special episode with a lot of great guests. And then we'll take a little bit of a hiatus, take a trip down memory lane, and we'll see you in 2021.
Well, and with that, let's go ahead and touch on the headlines. Tyler, if we can, the Oakland County Schools report some new COVID-19 outbreaks. Of the 65 total COVID-19 school outbreaks in Michigan, this is for the week ending December 18th. 6 occurred at 2 schools and a school district maintenance facility in Oakland County, and they happened at Holly Family Regional in Rochester. 2 outbreaks were reported involving students and staff there. And then Clarkston Elementary, 2 staff outbreaks appeared on the list. And there were 2 outbreaks at Farmington Hills School Maintenance at 10 Mile Road. That total is down from last week when 18 outbreaks were reported at 4 Oakland County schools. Ongoing outbreaks continue to be listed at 8 schools in Oakland County, including Oakland University, which has 31 outbreaks involving students and staff as part of their ongoing outbreaks. So high school and college students across the state, though, were banned from in-person learning starting November 18th. That was under the orders from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. However, that order expired. High school students can now go back to in-person learning, and colleges and universities can return to face-to-face classes on January 19th. So I would imagine that we're going to continue to see these outbreaks happen and those numbers increase once they actually get back to in-person learning, Tyler.
Yes, in-person learning coming back under, of course, the update to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services 3-week pause, which was then extended 12 days, and now it's been extended through January 15th. But COVID outbreaks have been a little bit of a problem as of late, particularly in the schools. That's why they were shut down during this pause. Those numbers are down across the state. That's why some of these restrictions have been lifted. Of course, each school has their own option. Each school district has its own option whether or not to return to in-person learning. It isn't requiring every school to go back to in-person. It gives the options to these districts should they decide that their COVID-19 situation is still not quite right to return to in-person. They can extend their virtual learning as far as they see fit.
Yeah, so we should let people know just because the state's saying it's okay doesn't necessarily mean your high school is going to welcome these students back. In fact, a lot of them right here in our local area are saying no. They are trying to work out a plan after the first of the year, but at this time, a lot of the school districts are saying no. So, the thing that you have to do if you're a parent or a student is follow the guidelines from your individual school districts. So with that, though, some good news on the horizon. Michigan is going to receive 121,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Health officials expect to receive those doses over the next 2 weeks. The increase in doses over the last week's allotment comes as Michigan is now scheduled to receive shipments of the Michigan-made Pfizer vaccine as well as the newly approved Moderna vaccine. And this, of course, according to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. However, Michigan officials say the number of doses is still well below what was previously indicated by the federal government. The state received roughly 85,000 doses in the first shipment of the Pfizer vaccine last week. About 1,900 of those came here directly to the Oakland County Health Department. But going forward, workplaces, especially larger employers like the Detroit automakers, could soon play a critical informational and coordination role in helping the state meet its goal of inoculating at least 70% of adults before the end of 2021. Of course, how exactly the vaccine is going to be distributed to essential workers and to the general public has yet to be determined. But I think we're going to see some of these major employers, such as the automakers, but also Amazon, start to work with the health departments to get their employees vaccinated as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a major effort across the board from individual companies and industries, individual counties and local municipal governments, and of course the federal government, and at the state and federal level, the National Guard, to get this to the widespread public after it gets through those first few phases of the distribution of this vaccine. It's going to go to the people that need it the most. For the response to COVID-19, for those at the most high-risk populations, and then comes the complicated part, which is why they have to start planning for the complicated part, which is people like you and I, people like our team here at Civic Center TV that are not on the direct front lines, that are in the general population, because there's so many of us that are going to need to get the vaccine down the road, and that's going to take even more logistical planning than, hey, everybody on this floor in the hospital is getting vaccinated today because we're all essential workers, and here's the schedule at this individual hospital. It's millions upon millions of people in the general population, county by county, state by state, that are going to need to get this vaccination.
Yeah, while those numbers seem promising, but you have to really put it in perspective to the populations of the state of Michigan. We have a long way to go. So they're saying really by springtime, summertime, this vaccination should be rolled out to everyone that wants to get it. Also making news today on Civic Center TV. Hey, if you get a text message from the state of Michigan, not a scam. It's from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The state is reaching out via text to try to encourage people to sign up for that My COVID Alert app. The state launched the contact tracing app this past fall. We've been talking about it here on the Oakland County Megacast. Now, if you can tell if you've been within 6 feet of someone who tested positive for COVID-19 for more than 15 minutes, that's the purpose of this app. It relies on Bluetooth to determine location and users to anonymously input whether they have been tested positive. The text messages sent this week has a link in it to send to you and to the app page. Downloading is free, and success of the My COVID Alert app depends on how many participate. As of Monday, only 9.5% of Michiganders have downloaded the app. That's just downloaded, not how many are actually participating. Research shows it can be effective if as few as 15% of the population signs up. I'm not surprised those numbers are as low as they are. I don't really know too many people that have downloaded this, but also if I test positive, shouldn't I not be out in the public? So if I put it into this app, by the time I'm out in the general public, is it giving a false report? Because I should be clear by that time if I've been through my quarantine. So it's not really popular. I will say they get an A for effort, right?
Oh, A for effort, certainly. But I don't know anybody that has downloaded this app. I don't think a text message campaign is going to work either. I hate to complain about things, but I'm just so good at it. I think that this text message campaign, people are going to be a little bit weary of it. They're going to be very annoyed by it in most cases, but I think if they're not annoyed by it, they're going to be kind of weary of it because of all the scams that are going around right now through text messages, through email from scammers during the holidays and going into the new year. They're going to think that this is potentially some sort of a virus or a Trojan horse that they're going to be downloading on their phone by clicking on a link to download some app. I'm genuinely curious how many complaints the Attorney General's office is going to get about this being a scam, when in reality it's just the state texting everybody.
You know, that's kind of a good point, too. I got an email from Amazon yesterday. It looked like it was from Amazon. So we're talking about those phishing scams. It was so real, Tyler. I could see why people are starting to fall for these, but we'll have someone on tomorrow's show to talk about some of these latest phishing scams and how to protect yourself and what to look out for as well. So, but with that, just a reminder, you can go ahead and check out the morning headlines there on civiccentertv.com. Click on that coronavirus tab, and that will take you directly to the latest headlines. But also you'll see at the top of the page, we put direct links to various organizations for you to be able to navigate this information for yourself as well, such as the CDC, the state of Michigan, Oakland County, and our local municipalities as well, because this information does change not only daily, sometimes hourly as well. So, but with that though, we want to let you know we have a great edition of the Tuesday Oakland County Megacast ahead for you here on the show. When we come back, first up, we are going to have a surprise guest for you here on the Oakland County Megacast. I will tell you a little hint. He does wear a red suit. So we'll be speaking to that surprise guest just after the break. You are listening to and watching the Oakland County Megacast.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green
or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on, to help stop the spread of COVID-19, wear a mask.
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 The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart, keep wearing a mask in public, and if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Great to have you with us here on the Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studios while Mr. Tyler Keith is holding down things back in the West Bloomfield studio. And we are just over a week away from the Christmas season, but Santa is busy at work. COVID-19 and the pandemic has not stopped him. Joining us on the Oakland County Megacast, the man in the big red suit himself, Chris Kringle. Thank you for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me this year.
So as Santa, I didn't know because of COVID if some of your reindeers could possibly be taking a little bit of break or if you've had any reindeer sick. But if so, I'm willing and able to help you with your services. I can navigate your sleigh. See, I have a reindeer outfit. I'm ready to go.
You're looking pretty good. Now, does that nose light up?
So I have separate antlers.
Oh, there you go.
See, so if it's foggy, I could be your backup.
Absolutely. Looking pretty good there.
Santa, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you.
I love your backdrop. And Santa, you are a bright light in the middle of this pandemic. What's going on? Are you excited for the big night?
Absolutely. Very excited for the big night. You kidding? I got goosebumps. If I didn't have these long sleeves on, you could probably see the goosebumps popping out of my arms right now. It's a lot of fun. But you think over all these years of Santa Clausing and going every Christmas Eve that, maybe lose its luster after so many years and so many Christmas Eves, but actually Christmas Eve is and remains my absolute favorite night of the year, every year.
So what's going to be different this year, Santa?
Nothing's going to be different for me. We're going on as scheduled, as planned, just like every other year.
So Santa Claus joining us here on the Oakland County Megacast, because the one thing that's been great about the outcome of COVID-19 and the pandemic is we've all upped our game when it comes to Zoom. Santa, I have to ask you, did it take you a while to get the technology down, or did your elves have to help you?
Well, the elves are there for me, but they're about as far behind as I am. But Mrs. Claus she's up to speed. She keeps me going on Zoom, and I'm not as tech savvy, but I'm working my way in that direction.
Santa has gone to Zoom. And with that, Santa, what's the big toy this year that everyone is asking for?
Oh, there's so many toys. There's let me think. There's the Paw Patrols has a new game out. There's always Legos and Light Bright and Barbies. I believe there's a soft Yoda figure this year, and Paw Patrols I think mentioned a game. And there's another toy out there, very interesting. I think it was probably submitted by one of the but a parent somewhere in the world. It's called Poopalop's Wagtails. It's what it is. It's an interactive pet for boys and girls who have to take care of this pet. And one of the things they do, they've got to feed their pet and take care of it. And after they're finished feeding the pet, they're going to take care of the droppings because the pet actually poops. So they got to learn to pick up poop. That's a strange concept, but like I said, I think a parent may have come up with that one to so let them know if we ever get a real dog, you're going to have to take care of that one. So in the meantime, try this one out.
Yeah, and that pet's going to be a lot easier than the real pet, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
So Santa, could you give us a little bit of your secret? I know you get a lot of cookies and milk on Christmas Eve. What's your favorite?
Oh, I love cookies. You know, I think I might be the original cookie monster. And Mrs. Claus makes cookies during the holiday season, lots and lots of cookies. She makes snickerdoodles and Russian tea cakes and, you know, all sorts of, you know, other yummies, the peanut butter blossoms. But I think probably around this time would be the cutout cookies with the icing on top and some sprinkles. Those are very good, very good. And you know what, Mrs. Claus, funny story, last week, she came out with a big tray of these cutout cookies and put them in front of me. She said, "Here, Santa Claus, take these back and share them with the elves when you get a chance." I said, "Absolutely, I will." She came back a few minutes later. She with some big glasses of milk, and she looked down at the tray. She said, "Santa Claus, what happened? So many of these cookies are gone." I said, "Well, it's a mystery. Maybe some of the elves came in and then took someone I wasn't looking." She came a little bit closer to me and she looked at me. She said, "Santa Claus, your beard has got cookie crumbs in it, as big as nickels. I don't think those elves had anything to do with the missing cookies." We both had a big laugh, and she wasn't too upset with me.
So I have to say, I'm about to make our holiday tradition, because I'm from Ohio. So we're making Buckeyes. Have you ever tasted Buckeyes, Santa?
Absolutely, I have. You got the peanut butter and the chocolate outside. Those are nice. That's a nice cookie.
We'll be making those tomorrow with the old family recipe.
Santa, how are the reindeers doing?
The reindeer are very fit. They're fit and ready to go. You know, they're well rested. A lot of the boys and girls think, you know, when I want to go to visit, they say, "Santa Claus, you know, where are the reindeer? Are they up on the roof? Are they out in the street?" And I tell them, "No, they're of course not. They're back in the North Pole." I said, they only fly one time a year. And of course they say, well, how did you get here then, Santa Claus? And I tell them, well, lots of boys and girls, when I meet them, they'll keep in contact with me over the years, even into when they get to be adults and have children of their own. And they'll contact me, they'll call me, they'll email me, say, "Santa Claus, if you're in town, I've got a card that you can use and you can go make visits with that." And that's a fine idea. And I'm very thankful. And that happens a lot. So boys and girls, keep in contact when you get older. I might be visiting you when you get older.
What about the elves? How are they doing? Busy year for them?
They're very busy. That's a fun-loving group. Hardworking and fun-loving. And they're very supportive, you know, of our mission, you know, to get bring joy and happiness to boys and girls all around the world. They're loving it, and they join right in, and they work very hard throughout the year. They have some fun, though.
I was going to say, they seem like a very playful group. Yeah. How do you rein them in to get productivity out of the elves?
Well, quite honestly, I'm more of a facilitator. Mrs. Claus, she's pretty good at putting her heel down when it's necessary, because she watches the clock. She says, "Santa, you boys got to get after it. You boys and girls and all you elves, you better get to it, because Christmas Day is coming pretty quick." So she makes sure we stay on the job.
Mrs. Claus, see, every mister needs a Mrs. behind him. Absolutely. To get things done and to keep them on track.
Yes, and absolutely. And Mrs. Claus is always cheerful, always very nice and very giving. And she loves to make these home visits with me, before as the holiday season progresses, because she loves to get out and meet the boys and girls, but she's always there for me. And she's, always takes care of me and makes sure that I've got everything I need.
Santa, can I ask you something? Can you share a secret with me? Go
ahead, ask.
Just between the two of us, how do you fit down the chimneys?
It's magic. It's a magic. I can't share all of that, but of course it's magic. I'm a big guy, and some of these chimneys are only this big around. So yeah, there's a lot of magic involved there. But magic, it's a once a year thing too. So you won't be seeing me coming down chimneys throughout the year, just one time.
With that, hey, when Christmas is over and you get to take a break, do you watch any of these Christmas movies?
Well, I wish I had more time to watch television. I'll tell you what, but Mrs. Claus and I, we're up to our elbows all the time with things to do, and the last minute preparations, of course, coming into it. And, there's always the, checking that list twice, before it's all over. But I would think if there was a favorite movie, holiday movie that I like, would probably be the original version of the what is it? Miracle on 34th Street with Edmund Gwenn playing my role. He does a nice job. He does a good job. And that's a classic. So that's probably my favorite.
It is very much a classic. I will say I like Frosty the Snowman too.
That's a good story.
I'd sing it for you, but I'm not a very good singer, Santa.
Everywhere I go, I say, okay, we're going to sing together, but I don't want all those voices drowning out old Santa Claus, because he's no Frankie Sinatra. And they try hard, but I can always seem to hear my own voice.
So Santa, I will say, I know you don't have a lot of time, and maybe this is kind of a question for Mrs. Claus, but the big debate this year is who has the better Christmas shows, Hallmark or Lifetime?
Oh, well, again, you know what? You hit that right on the head, because if there was a show like that on television, Mrs. Claus would be watching and taking notes. So I couldn't speak to that.
Well, it's so fun having you with us here, because I know you're super, super busy as we go into the holiday season. The countdown is on. What do you want to say to the kids that may be watching right now?
Well, I guess my message would be, as always, be kind to others. Listen to your parents, work hard in school, believe in yourself, and always never give up on your dreams. That'd be my message to all boys and girls around the world.
Santa, we appreciate you taking time to visit us here on the Oakland County Megacast.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
So when do you take off? When does your magic start?
Well, the magic starts, not till we leave the ground, and we're preparing for it. Everybody's getting pretty anxious, and once we leave the ground, the magic begins.
Well, just a reminder, if something happens to one of the reindeer and you need a backup, I'm here for you. See, I can lead the sleigh.
I see those lights. I see them. You might just work out. Something happens, I'll contact you.
Santa, thank you for taking time out to be with us.
Thank you again for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Well, thank you for what you do and the cheer and the joy that you bring to thousands of kids. We want to say thank you and happy holidays to you and the missus and all the elves and the reindeers there in the North Pole.
Thank you. I'll share that with everyone. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Santa.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Santa. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. I'm so excited Santa got to visit us this year on the show. And when we come back, we still have a lot to talk about. Tyler, you're not on Santa's naughty list, are you?
I probably am. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's been a wild year. I'll find out. I guess I'll find out in a few days. I could use some coal, make a nice fire in the courtyard.
I think I'm teetering on that list. I will tell you that.
Well, I think we all are. Between the turkey suit and the reindeer now, you're making a lot of holiday enemies with the suits here, Ronnie.
Well, I had a Santa suit for you, Tyler, but I knew you could be an elf. But I knew it just wouldn't match. Like, you couldn't compete with Santa, but
No,
I know that
never.
you would be there to help him if he needed it.
I'd never try to compete with Santa, but I would help. Certainly.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, though, we are going to be checking in with the Michigan Tree Farm Association. It's been a great year for some of the Christmas tree farmers. We'll get the latest update when the Oakland County Megacast continues.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And Step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus-test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
A little bit of holiday fun here on the Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. We want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to join us here on the show. And just as a reminder, Tyler and I are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon. You can tune in at civiccentertv.com. Also catch us on the Birmingham Municipal Access, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. If you're out driving around, and as a reminder, if you do have cable, tune us into channel 15 on Comcast, channel 99 on AT&T. And we also want to say thank you today to the Oakland University family for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page. With that, we had a little bit of fun from Santa, Tyler. Always great having the jolly man himself here on the show.
Yeah, and he's having an impact immediately. I mean, we've turned from a reindeer into an elf. That's some serious Christmas magic.
You know, I threw up the holiday magic dust, and just like that, I became an elf. Because you know what? I'm in the holiday spirit.
You are.
A lot of people aren't feeling it this year, but you've got to have a little fun in life. But for some people, COVID-19 and the pandemic has forced them to reevaluate their lives. And one thing everyone seems to want this year is a lot of holiday cheer, and it begins with the perfect Christmas tree. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Amy Stark. She's the Executive Director for the Michigan Christmas Tree Association. Amy, thank you for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you and your team as well. Just to start off, it seems like it's been a great year for the Christmas tree farmers.
You know, it really has. You know, going into this situation back in March, April, we were really nervous about, what's going to happen down the road. We have a very short selling week season, it's only a couple of weeks, and we were kind of concerned. But then we were able to see some of the other commodities coming ahead of us, like pumpkins and apples, and they had booming seasons as well. And so we knew we better be prepared. And so our growers got together, came up with some best practices to keep everybody safe and be ready for our customers to come.
For us that aren't farmers at all, but can you talk a little bit about the process that it takes to actually get a tree from the seedling all the way to a Christmas tree lot?
Well, it takes about 10 to 12 years from seedling. The tree actually is transplanted a couple times before it's found its forever home in a Christmas tree field. And so from that point, it's about 8 to 10 years. And, a lot of people now have these really tall ceilings and they want these really big trees, and those take even longer. So, and during that time, the growers have fertilized it and treated it for different things to be sure that, it doesn't have any pests or problems with it through the growing years, to make sure that it is a beautiful Christmas tree 8 to 10 years later.
But it's got to be hard to try to navigate the market from year to year because you don't know what it's going to bring. Like this year seems to be so popular because of the pandemic. And obviously no one predicted that 8 years ago. So how do farmers adjust in the middle of these cycles of need and not need?
Well, that's been kind of tough because we are kind of going into a time period where there has been a reduction in planting back in 2008, 2009, when the recession hit. We're kind of seeing those effects now. So there isn't as many trees as there were 10 years ago, let's say. And so you can't speed this process up. It is kind of what it is. A lot of people will go out to a farm and say, well, why are they closed? They still have trees. I can see them. But if they sell out everything they have, then they don't have anything for the following year. So they kind of have to decide, is this it? This is it. So I can be open next year for my customers.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things that people don't understand. I know that we had a tree farmer from up north that came down and set up the lot here in our neighborhood, and he sold out pretty quickly. But can you talk a little bit about the process and the sacrifice that some of these tree farmers go through to grow their product up north, but then to bring them down into the populated areas to sell them?
Oh yeah, it's a whole logistics situation of, they have to harvest, in November. You have to make sure that, you keep them in an area to stay cool and protected. And then you have to, get together with some trucking companies to bring them down into those areas. It's a lot of work. A lot of people think that, Christmas trees, they're, you put them in the ground and a couple years later you cut them and that's that. And there's a lot more to this. And there's a lot of science to it as well. The growers have to know when they treat for certain things, when they trim, when they shear their trees. All that is a process. And each type of tree is different. So you can't shear a Scotch pine when you were going to shear maybe a concolor. So they're just a little different. And it's amazing the stuff that, they know to make these beautiful Christmas trees.
How has technology played a part in the industry?
Well, it's interesting because there's some now heavy duty kind of tractors that will spray and trim at the same time. And do multiple rows, so it's not just one push mower going through and mowing, some of that is on a small farm, but like a big wholesale farm maybe has, thousands of acres. So they have big industrial tractors that have been designed specifically for Christmas trees.
So when it comes to the Christmas tree industry, what does this really mean for Michigan's overall economics and the impact that it has on the state?
It's about $35 million to Michigan's economy. And a lot of people think, again, Christmas trees, my little local farmer down the road. And there's a lot of that. There's about 500 Christmas tree farms in Michigan, but we have a large wholesale market. We're third in the United States in Christmas tree production. So lots of trees, over 2 million sold out of Michigan every year.
So it's not just here, but it's also across, do they mainly like the Midwest region?
Oh, all over the place. I mean, you might be celebrating Christmas in Texas with a Michigan grown Christmas tree, or down in Florida. Yeah, they're all over.
So if someone is interested in the business side of this, because it really is fascinating, we don't think about it, especially when we live down in the Metro Detroit area. How can they explore more about the opportunities to try to get into this business?
Well, what they should do is obviously contact the Michigan Christmas Tree Association, and then we'll connect you with Michigan State is one of our educational partners. There's a lot of resources on the Michigan State Extension website about growing Christmas trees. And especially just getting in touch with the association to find a good, reliable nursery source, because that's your first step, is starting, with a small seedling. But you can't just choose any seedling and say, I want to grow this, because it depends on the site to soil, what you can grow and where. So, you have to also be committed to that 8 to 10 year process before you get a return on your investment. So a lot of people get excited saying, oh, yay, Christmas trees are selling out. I want to get into that business. You have to understand that it's going to take time before you get your money back.
That is a long time, but you have to be patient. Amy start with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the executive director for the Michigan Christmas Tree Association. And with that, Amy, when we talk about the different kinds of trees, I know that most people by now have their tree up, but there are still some people trying to, it's maybe their holiday tradition that they don't put it up until Christmas Eve. So for the few people out there who still want that live Christmas tree, what should they look for?
Well, you want to make sure it's fresh. So if you're getting one from a lot, take and pull a few needles off, kind of run your hands down a branch. And if it seems like you're losing a lot of needles, choose a different tree. If you're going to a choose and cut farm, there's still a few that are open. Some people stay open up until Christmas Eve because of those traditions. You'll get a fresh tree then. And then the most important thing is to make sure that you water your tree. At first that tree takes a lot of water. So when you get it home, be sure to water it. And don't just put it in your garage and leave it for a day or two, because the sap will kind of make a little barrier for the water to go up through the stump part. So be sure to get it in some water right away and water it often. And then keep it away from the heat source.
Yeah, when we hear, should you ask if you go to a tree farm or a tree lot for them to cut the bottom portion for you right there in front of you?
Yes, I would. I'd ask them to take a couple inches off the bottom. And that way, unless you're good at with the saw yourself at home, or your husband does or something. But for me, I always say, hey, can you cut it for me? And a lot of them will do a drill in the bottom, so it'll stay in a pin stand and stuff, and stay straight for you when you put it up.
Yeah, no, we don't need any injuries. Have the professionals do that. And with that, though, how do you know if a tree is fresh? Should you ask, when were these trees cut? Because what is that timeline typically like?
Well, it can be, early November when the tree is cut. But, the trees are kept in a way that will stay fresh for that time period. It's just, once you make that fresh cut, it'll start absorbing and kind of almost act as if it's, coming alive again. It'll take the water and it'll kind of bounce back. So that's important. But the most important thing, most of them, of course, everybody's going to say my trees are fresh, of course, and they are, but just kind of feel them and look at them. But you should know if it seems fresh.
So what is the timeline? Is it like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks? When we say fresh, or what is that timeline from cutting to buying? What is the perfect time?
Well, it varies, and it varies based on the type of tree too. You don't want to get a tree, let's say maybe a Douglas fir, and have it, cut for a long time, because they don't hold their needles as well if it's been a long time period. But, like I said, it depends on the type of tree and what you're getting, and where the tree is. We've had really good weather this year for Christmas trees to be outside and to kind of stay in that like refrigerated kind of climate. When it goes real hot and then real cold, that's kind of tough on the trees too. And we've had a lot of overcast days, and that helps too, so the sun's not baking on them.
Is there an option for people who love getting a real Christmas tree and the smell that it brings to their home, but they feel bad about using a tree that's cut down and then is, just disposed of on the curb once the holiday is over? Can you buy a tree that you can plant, or is there a way to recycle these as well?
Oh, a couple things there. One, keep in mind these trees are grown for the purpose of harvesting, just like corn or pumpkins or anything like that. That's the grower's livelihood. So you're supporting farming, Michigan farming, by buying a real Christmas tree. So don't feel bad about doing it. They're planting 1 to 2 more right in the spot for that tree that has been taken out. But there also is what's called a living tree, which is kind of a root. It has the root system in it, and you can plant it outside. Some people opt to do something like that, and that way they don't feel like they're killing a tree. Although the trees that are disposed of after the holidays are usually chipped up and used in mulch in city parks. They're recycled. And that's the thing with Christmas trees. It's a renewable and recyclable resource for Michigan, because we do use those disposed trees for other things. So, a lot of cities will chip them and then put them through their parks, or you can also put it in your yard after you take it down in your house, and you can decorate it in your yard and see, the birds perching on it, and then, dispose of it.
So I have noticed over the past few years, it seems like the farmers are starting to realize the trends and using the leftover portions of the tree for decorating and building like these beautiful pots for your front porch or for garland and this, that, and the other. Because it used to be you could go to a lot and be like, hey, can I get your tree trimmings? And they'd be like, oh yeah, here. Now they're like, okay, that'll be $25. So it's evolving, right?
Yeah, they are doing some beautiful stuff, like at garland and tabletop decorations and, the wreaths and things like that. A lot of farms will give you whatever they trim off. Like when you take your tree over and say, hey, I want so much room underneath for my presents. Can you remove these branches? A lot of them will give you those branches. But they will sell bundles of those, because so many people are doing the porch pots and things like that. But yeah, I hope that that's another part of Michigan's economy too, that the growers bring, is in those products that they're selling. So if somebody says, I don't do a real Christmas tree, consider going out to those farms and buying the other things that can add to the scent in your home and that type of thing, and kind of give it that real Christmas feel in your home.
Yeah, I will say that's one of the things I do, because you talk to a lot of firefighters, and real Christmas trees for them are like a devastation, because they can cause fires when people don't properly care for them. But I'm just lazy now as I get older, and I get the fake tree, because I find needles like in June and July. I'm like, I thought I cleaned all these up, but I get the garland and all of the branches and make my own tree pots and things of that nature. So at least my house still has the smell and the look of Christmas.
Oh yeah. And I pick up all the needles too, and I always think, oh, nature's confetti. It's just part of what it is, but it just gives you that, that smell and the aroma. And, for me, it's the bringing my kids out to the farm and seeing all the people getting excited. And it just really puts me in the spirit to go get that real tree, or, buy the wreaths and all the stuff.
So we're in the middle of a pandemic. How has it changed how Michigan's tree farmers try to reach the public? Are they utilizing social media now more than ever to try to share the story behind the process of actually, growing a Christmas tree?
Yes. And it's kind of interesting, because we have kind of a different situation with our growers. Some are like very much off the grid, they don't do the internet, I try to email them and they're like, I don't do email or something. And then you have some that are really into the whole social media aspect of it. You know, some young growers have really come up with creative things. But, you know, in Michigan, we have what's called in the United States, actually, the Christmas Tree Promotion Board. And it's kind of like the beef what's for dinner or the avocados from Mexico. It promotes Christmas trees and that throughout the U.S. And basically, they help do a lot of promotion. They do a lot of social media stuff and to encourage people to go out to get real Christmas trees. And then social media, like I said, some of the growers are just fantastic about, you know, getting their ideas out and their hours, you know, their business plans and stuff like that out. So people know, hey, this grower they're open and they're doing best practices for COVID. So let's go visit them this year.
With that though, it's like their window of opportunity to sell seems so small. What do they do like the other 11 months out of the year?
Well, you know, I thought when I got into this business several years ago, hey, this is going to be the best job in the world. I'm going to work for like a month, right? No, it's a lot more than that. There's a lot of education that goes into growing Christmas trees. So they do a lot of, in the off season, they do a lot of classes. They do a lot of trimming of their trees. Like I said, fertilizing, scouting, you know, there's different things you have to make sure that, you know, your trees don't get in like a needle cast, things like that, because that's your investment. So you have to be on your trees, looking them over all the time, making sure that nothing's happening to them. So that takes a lot of time, you know, and then in the off time, they also have to, you know, sharpen all their equipment and, you know, they have mowers that they are kind of tweaking all the time and making sure that those are running appropriately. And then, you know, in the decorating portion of when you go to a Christmas tree farm, you see it's all decorated. That takes a lot of time too, to prepare for the customer. So there's always something to do.
So when you're looking at it, really though, their business model is that month it is really setting the stage for the rest of the year in their business. Their profit is about that 1 month.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it starts that weekend after Thanksgiving, and it's that week. And then there's probably about 2 more weeks. And then it's, you know, kind of most people by the 10th, usually most people have their Christmas tree. But yeah, it's a quick season. You have to be ready.
Oh my gosh. You know, I was amazed. Last year, I remember meeting the people in Eastern Market here in Detroit. They were from up north and they bring a camper down and they live down in the Metro Detroit area in their camper until their season is over. And I don't think people really understand the sacrifice that really goes into that one Christmas tree.
Oh, like I said, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's years. It's a year, you know, many, many years of investment. And it's such a wonderful thing because it just does bring so much joy to people. And, you know, they're so happy, you know, to be able to produce this product that people it's the centerpiece of people's homes for the holidays.
It really is. It's the backdrop of our memories. So with that, Amy, before we let you go, just another question or two. And I wonder about employees. What's it been like for them to get employees to go into this industry? Because I would think that a lot of these are kind of family traditions where it was the grandfather to the father to the son. Is that interest still there with the younger generation? And are these tree farmers struggling for people to take up this legacy?
You know, yes, they are. It's interesting. There's several growers that it's been the generational farm, and then the son goes away and says, I don't want anything to do with it. They spend a little time out in corporate America. You know, they've maybe got a degree from, you know, state or something, then goes get a job working at a desk. And pretty soon they're back in the business again because they're like, I really liked this better working for myself. So, you know, you see that, but then you also see, you know, if they don't have children, you know, that's been an issue, you know, or maybe they have girls and the girls don't want anything to do with it. And then the, you know, son-in-laws don't. So that kind of has been a problem, but also just getting help, and getting help this year has been super hard because, you know, a lot of times they employ, you know, local teens, things like that. And just getting people to want to work during COVID has not been that easy. So that's been tough.
When do they actually start harvesting the trees? Is it mid-November?
No, it's early November.
Early November. So, because you would wonder maybe too if it would help because so many of the students were, remote learning per se, so they could go out there and get jobs and help out and carry a legacy.
Yeah, and what the most help that a lot of people need too is, like at a choose and cut farm, just that moving customers, the filling the hot chocolates, things like that, the smaller jobs, kind of just making sure that the flow, especially during COVID, that, there was an in and there's an out and people are separated and all that, which is great at a Christmas tree farm because we got lots of acreage anyways for that separation. But, that's where you need so many more people. And in farms, they not only have their staff, and a lot of times that's their family, but then they also hire locals and stuff to help them. And this year it's just been really challenging.
Well, the good thing though is it seems like a lot of our Christmas tree farmers are going to have a very Merry Christmas because sales have been up and the tree lots are now empty. Our local guy pulled out last week ahead of schedule because he was out of product. And so we're wishing them a very Merry Christmas because they do so much to bring us that real Christmas tree experience.
Yes. And, they're so happy they get to have a Christmas too, because there's been many years where they are right up till the 23rd, 24th, trying to sell those trees because once they're cut, that's it, so they're happy this year. It's been a great, great year for them.
Well, that is good to know. We need a little bit of a silver lining in the middle of this pandemic. Amy, start with us. She's the executive director for the Michigan Christmas Tree Association. Amy, before I let you go, anything maybe I didn't mention that you want to touch on?
Just, know that if you do still need to go to a Christmas tree farm, go to our website, which is mcta.org. And there's a list of choose and cut farms on there and also retail lots. So you can find out if the farm is still open. You could call ahead. That way you don't make a trip and find out that they're not open. And just know that the farms are incorporating best practices to keep you safe. So go take your family. Take your camera. It's a great spot to take some beautiful pictures. And right now, we don't really have much to take pictures of all at our homes. So this is a great opportunity for you. So, enjoy that. And again, we're just so thankful that the community came out and supported our industry. And, we wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Well, we say the same to you and all of the farmers out there as well. Happy holidays. And thank you for what you do to bring these memories into our homes.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Still another full hour of the show left to go. We have a lot to talk about in the next hour. You're listening to and watching the Oakland County Megacast.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus. Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Great to have you with us, checking out the Oakland County Megacast. It's 11 o'clock. As a reminder, you can catch us listening on 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. You can also catch us on Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access. And if you have cable, we want to say thank you because a portion of your fee goes such as this. And you can find us on Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. Still another hour to go here on the Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. And we like to switch up the topics just a little bit and bring in Eric Schoenbaechler. He's the coordinator for the adult services over at the West Bloomfield Public Library, and Jill Bickford, she is also the coordinator of youth services over at the library. One of my absolute favorite places to visit, but this has been quite the year. Eric, do you want to kind of kick off the conversation? How have you been doing in your team during this pandemic?
Thank you, and we're excited to be here this morning. So we've been adjusting to the new reality of library services. It's been really different. We're usually in normal times we're very, very busy. We have people through all day and all evening. So reopening after a few months of being shut down and having a lot slower traffic has been something that everyone has had to adjust to, not just our staff, but also patrons. Is currently open. We're excited about that. We are still allowing people to come in. We just have cautions in place. Just the building does feel comfortable. And of course, we ask everyone to, limit time, absolutely wear masks, social distance inside the building. So there are a lot of precautions that are in place, but we do want to make sure that people are able to come in and access the collections, because that's the big, most important thing right now is access to our physical collections.
Because I'd love to go in, like back in the day, and go back by the fireplace, pick out a magazine, but also just scan the titles of the books. And that's how you find these new worlds to escape into. But with that and how it's changed, Eric, I will say I did discover prior to the pandemic the access to ebooks. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that's working on the electronic side, and are people taking advantage of it? Because it's not so easy to actually check out an ebook as well.
Yeah, and ebooks have always been huge for patrons in West Bloomfield, ebooks and all of our e-media. But over the last 10 months, we've really seen it kind of skyrocket in terms of usage because we want to offer our patrons as many formats as possible. So we like to buy titles in print books and books on CD and ebooks and various other things. So ebooks have really, like I said, the usage has skyrocketed. We have thousands and thousands of titles available in ebooks and e-audiobooks. We also have 3,600 titles that are available to check out. There's video, there's music, there's all sorts of things that you can use the library for without actually having to come in the building. So that is actually something that we're really encouraging is for West Bloomfield cardholders to take a look at our website and see what is available to everyone without actually having to come into the building if people don't feel comfortable doing that. So again, if you've got a West Bloomfield library card, we really encourage you to check out the website, the e-library page, where you'll find all of our digital resources. And I think that people will really be surprised at how much is there. We've got it for all ages, everyone from babies up to adults and seniors. So there's something for everyone in our e-resources.
So with that, Jill, let's talk a little bit. You're the coordinator of youth services. Mm-hmm. Again, the library was such a great place and a great escape for kids to explore. How has this changed for you and your team during the pandemic?
Right. It was anyone who's been in our youth services room knows that it was built around play, and it was really a destination for families to come and spend a lot of time exploring and learning hands-on in the building. Obviously, we've had to put that on pause for the time being. But like Eric said, we still have lots of materials. So we still have all the books to get into kids' hands. We still have the DVDs for families to have a family movie night. And people can come into the building and browse. We know a lot of families aren't comfortable doing that. So we do have the drive-up window and the curbside service. So they can simply go online and place their holds, or they can call us. A lot of parents will just call us and say, we're not comfortable coming in and browsing. Can you select things? I have a 2-year-old who really likes trucks, and I have a 6-year-old who's just starting to read. Can you just pick some things? And our librarians, you know, who have that expertise, will just put together a package of things for them that they can get at the window or through the curbside. So we're really making sure that we still get reading materials, you know, our traditional purpose of building early literacy for kids into their hands, as well as we're still doing our story times. We're still doing our early literacy programs. We're just doing them remotely. We're doing them via Zoom. And for families that sign up for our story times, it's a 6-week session, and they get a kit that they can check out and take home that has all the props that would be used. So it has a finger puppet. It has the books that we'll be reading in story time. It has the little craft that we would normally do at the end of story time, so that it's still interactive. They can still participate and get that hands-on experience.
So what's the feedback been from the community and from parents?
I would say people are just so thrilled that we're able to offer them some services. You know, as you know, in full shutdown, we had to be completely closed. I want to say it was about 11 weeks, and couldn't really offer anything other than those digital services. So they're extremely happy that they can come in and get the reading materials for their kids. And that feedback has been positive, as well as they're happy that we do have so many ebooks and e-audio for kids as well, so that they can access those remotely. And they love the story times. They love that they can still engage, and that their kids can still see their favorite librarian on a weekly basis, and still have those early learning skills imparted to them that, you know, the parents may not really know how to do on their own at home. So the feedback has been very positive, and people are just very appreciative that we've found solutions to continue many of our services in this sort of unusual time.
So I know that the library has always had the drive-through service. Mm-hmm. You mentioned curbside.
Yes.
How is that working?
So that we decided to do that because we knew that when we first opened, the drive-up might back up. It might be too busy. So we wanted to offer another option, as well as it is completely contactless. We knew some people might even be a little bit uncomfortable with the face-to-face they have at the drive-up. So we have 5 designated spots on the east side of the parking lot. They're numbered. And it's just like, you know, when you go to a store or a restaurant, curbside, you pull into one of those spots. If you have to reserve your materials ahead of time. So you've either spoken to us or done it online, and your materials are ready for you. And you call the number posted there and tell us what your spot you're in, and your name and your library card number. We get the items, we check them out to you. We come, we put them in your trunk, wave hello, and send you on your way.
So Eric, if I could ask you, I know that one of the popular things at the library is those meeting rooms. Are those open to the public right now, or no?
No, not at this point. As you know, we have the large meeting room where we hold our programs. We have a small conference room that is often reserved by book groups. And then we have the small group study rooms. Unfortunately, at this time, none of those are open for usage. We're actually, we hated to do it because we know that people love those rooms. They're always in high demand. And outside of the study rooms, we've got study tables and everything all throughout the building. And we've had to, we just studying or any long-term usage of the building at this time. So again, when people are able to come in and they are welcome to do so, then it's just for short visits, for browsing the collections and really minimizing time inside the building to things that you can't do outside of the building.
So, but the computer services have been so vital for so many people for so many years. And we're in the middle of a pandemic where technology is critical, really, to connect with other people. Are your computers still available to the public? And if so, how is that operating right now?
Yes, so we are offering computer access to West Bloomfield Library card holders. So people can make reservations to use the computer. They can do that on our website, or they can always give us a call and we can slot them into one of the reservations. So a reservation can be made a day in advance, and people can get up to 45 minutes of computer usage per day. So we have computer appointments every hour. Like I said, they last for up to 45 minutes. And people are able to come in. The scanners are still attached to the computer so they can scan, they can print, they can pretty much do any sort of productivity or work support or learning support that's necessary on the computers. So, and that is available at both the main branch and the West Acres branch. But like I said, they do have to have a West Bloomfield Library card, and then we're happy to go into details if they wanted to check on the website. That's got all of the details for computer usage, and we're also happy to, like I said, if they want to call in to make an appointment, we're always happy to talk to patrons.
So I also think about some of the seniors that maybe aren't so tech savvy. They're having trouble, downloading a book, or they're looking forward to going in to maybe, get on Facebook to visit with their family, and those, utilizing the computers at the library there. So for seniors, have you had to help them navigate this world that we're in right now? And what's that been like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And helping seniors with technology isn't something that is new to the pandemic. That's something that has always been a service that we've offered. In normal times, we have been able to offer more one-on-one assistance, which we miss doing and look forward to getting back to when things go back to a new normal. But time with seniors on the phone, we actually have some great video tutorials on our website. So if seniors do have access to a computer and feel comfortable with that, they can go to our website on the e-library page, and we have video tutorials for basically every e-resource we offer. It shows how to download. If it's an app, it shows how to download the app. It shows the login process, shows how to check out materials and to save them. So the video tutorials are really comprehensive, and they're actually really, they're user-friendly. They don't get into too much tech jargon, so they're really great for patrons of all ability levels. But yes, we're always happy to help seniors. Unfortunately, at this time, we can't do the one-on-one tutoring like we usually do. But if they want to give us a call, or we do have chat functions online as well where they can contact us, and we will always do our best to help them through whatever service they would like to use.
Jill, if we could toss the conversation back to you for just a moment. Obviously, what would normally be Christmas break, right? But kids are kind of going into a hiatus. Are there any programs or book reading list to keep kids engaged while they're out of school over the winter holiday break?
Absolutely. On our website, we have lots and lots of suggested reading lists for kids based on interest, grade level, and so forth. But this year we're doing something new. Everyone knows libraries do summer reading programs, but this year we've started a winter reading program. So we have, kids can sign up and they get a little kit, and then they fill in, they get stickers, and they get to fill in stickers based on every 30 minutes of reading they do, because we want to make sure that they're still reading. And during this time when they're probably kind of stuck at home and not able to do a lot of the outings that they would normally do during a break, we want to encourage them to read, and to read for fun, to take a break from all that assigned reading they have in school and to just read whatever they want. So people can sign up for that through our website, or call us, or come in, and they can get that kit. And just like with the books and materials, we'll put it in their car, or they can get it at the drive up. And they do that, and they earn little prizes every week that they do 30 minutes of recreational reading. They can earn a little prize, and we have some assorted little prizes. They also earn books. So we have a little book fair set up in the library, and they can come in, and just for signing up, they can select a free book. And then as they do more reading, they earn more books and can earn up to 5 books that they get to keep during this time. So that's something new we're trying, and we're hoping that will help encourage kids to read for fun over this break. And it will run until February 13th. So it's going to go on for most of the winter.
I love that because I'm a reader. And I think that with these kids, you have to foster reading at a young age. I remember when I was young, every Saturday morning, going to the library and getting out my Nancy Drew books and my Hardy Boys books and anything else that I could do. In fact, I will tell you, I used to charge my classmates 5 cents to try to figure out their little mystery notes. Like if someone sent them like, I like you, do you like me, yes or no? I would charge them 5 cents for me to figure it out because I felt like I read so many Nancy Drew books that I must be a detective, right? But it comes from that love of reading and going to that library every Saturday morning. It was my escape. With kids, what's that competition like right now to try to get them to read versus social media? Because my biggest competition was Saturday morning cartoons.
Right. Same. Yeah, it's mostly for kids in the K-5 range, which is what this reading program is geared to. We're looking at technology. We're looking at playing video games. And we know these kids, many of them, they've been going to class online all day. So it would be really nice to give them a break from screen time, even if that screen time is different from the school, and have them actually holding books, turning pages, and reading. So I would say that, video games is probably the biggest challenge right now, tearing them away from a screen and getting them to do something different than staring at a screen.
Right, but you get to escape into a million different worlds.
Yes.
If you just pick up a book and read. I know that one of the things that I also loved about the West Bloomfield Library was you would bring in dogs, like therapy dogs.
Right.
To help soothe the kids that were nervous about reading. Yep. Because reading and reading out loud is not always comfortable. Like I remember, this could be back in the day and I might be aging myself. I don't know if they still do this, but when you had to read a paragraph out loud in class and you would count ahead to try to read, so that you could, glance over at least the paragraph that you had to read. But one of the great programs you had was to bring in these dogs that helped comfort these kids. Are you worried that kids are going to turn away from reading during this pandemic?
I worry about them turning away from recreational reading. I know that the schools are assigning a lot of reading, but we want to make sure that they're reading for fun and that they're getting to choose their reading materials and that they have the freedom to read without judgment, which is the whole purpose behind the dog program. The dogs just listen, they don't correct. One of the things we've added as part of this winter reading program, and starting in January, we will have online book chats and we did this over the summer too with our summer reading program, where the kids can just tell us about what they read and what books they liked. Because when a child talks about what they've read, it really helps reinforce and build the comprehension and sort of get them more excited about it. So they'll be able to sign up for a time with one of our librarians to just tell them about, what they've read and what they liked. And then the librarian can make suggestions of other things that they might like to sort of keep them interested and see the fun aspect of it. And it's different than a formal book report they have to write it in school. It's just telling someone something really cool about the book, or the character they liked.
I love that. But Eric, if we, going back to you, but also like it's a challenge with libraries as well to kind of like be modernized. And one thing I love about the West Bloomfield Library is you have plenty of books and movies and digital formats for people to check out. I will say when I worked in Toledo, that hour-and-a-half drive, every week I would go to the library and check out audiobooks. They were my lifesaver. But Eric, what is the challenge to try to stay on top of the changes and how people absorb information and podcast and now Bluetooth and you can download versus people going to the public library?
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. It's hard to continue to keep people engaged with reading if you only stick to one format. Traditional books are here to stay. They're not going anywhere despite the increase in ebooks and other media. But everything has to work together in order to give people the options for what work best for them. I'm like you, I don't live close to work, so I have about a 45-minute drive every day, and it would be kind of excruciating without audiobooks. I listen to them in my car every day. So that's what works for me, and we want to make sure that we are finding the options that work for everyone. So it's constantly keeping an eye out on changing technology, not just focusing on the books or on the physical books, but also not forgetting about the physical books, because we know that there are thousands and thousands of people who still want that and love that feeling. But we need to make sure that we are doing our best to cater for everyone. And thus far, we feel pretty comfortable that we're doing that.
Well, I will say, I kind of got away from paper books, like actual books, with my iPad, but it recently died. So I went back into my basement. Anytime I go, like you guys have this amazing, book sale a couple times a year, or other book fairs, this, that, and the other, I'll buy a bunch of books on that last day with the intent of giving them to the homeless. And I have a huge stack that I never actually gave out. And once my iPad died, I was like, oh, I have books in the basement. So it's like I rediscovered the value of that paper book. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we thank you both for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Again, one of you, do you want to touch on what are the actual hours over there at the library right now?
Sure. So we are open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m., and Sunday from noon until 5 p.m. And of course, this week we are closed on the 24th and 25th, and next week we're closed on the 31st and 1st.
Well, thank you both for being with us. Eric and Jill over at the West Bloomfield Public Library. If you have not been to your public library, please go visit them and explore. And while it's a little bit different under COVID, they're still open for your services and to serve you as well. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, about 40 minutes left here on the show. And when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation, diving into a bit of a different topic. We're going to have Karen Wells with us. She's a PhD and an editor, and she's with the School of Education and Human Services over at Oakland University. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Parks COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV, sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast, the Tuesday edition. For those that maybe have not tuned in to us before, just to let you know, this Megacast kind of grew out of the pandemic when Dave Scott and Tyler decided to come up with a way to try to inform our public of everything that was happening here in Oakland County and beyond with COVID-19 and this pandemic. Of course, when they started this way back in March, they didn't anticipate that it would be going on 9 months later, but yet here we are. So
We continue Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon, and we bring you long-form interviews with guest newsmakers and decision makers here throughout the area and how they're navigating the pandemic and this crisis, but also trying to get you the latest information. And so for those that don't know, you can watch us on civiccentertv.com. If you're here in the greater Oakland County area, you can watch us on the Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 if you have Comcast 99 on AT&T. If you're out driving around, you can also tune us into 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And each and every day, we also partner with a Facebook partner of the day so that we can also bring it to you on social media. And today our partner is Oakland University, and we want to say thank you to them. And that gets me to our next guest here on the Oakland County Megacast, because, you know, our healthcare workers are on the front line of this never-ending crisis, or at least what must seem like that to them. So joining us now here on the Megacast is Karen Wells, a PhD, and she's the editor of the International Journal for Educational Leadership Preparation and professor of the Department of Organizational Leadership, School of Education and Human Services over at Oakland University. You have a long title, you do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you're about helping the people on the front lines. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into this new program.
Okay, so, well, I've been at Oakland University. I'm starting my 17th year. Before that, other lives, so to speak, I have been a teacher, a counselor, an assistant principal, and a principal all at the high school level. So I have years of working in the schools as well.
This is a very different time that none of us have experienced. And it doesn't matter what your background couldn't really get us to this point, but you're taking it and you're embracing it. And there's a new program coming out in 2021 to kind of help the nurses that are on the front line of this pandemic. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Sure. Well, we're really excited at Oakland that we are going to be launching a particular program developed right for nurses. And it's online, it's on demand, and it's evidence-based. So if a nurse is working till 3 in the morning or however the shift ends, and they decide, I would like to complete this professional development, it's called Mindful Wellbeing for Nurses. And it infuses mindfulness in every session. And it deals with all of the things that you mentioned a little bit earlier about what they might be facing working as they are in this pandemic time. So.
I don't even worry about it. Like, so now when you're in a crisis mode, you go in, you're in a mindset. It's like you put your thoughts and your feelings in a box and you go. I worry about so many of the nurses and the healthcare workers on the front line coming out of this as well. I have nurses in my family. I have friends that are nurses, and this is going to be a crisis that's going to really take them a lot of thought and a lot of getting in touch with their feelings to address the long-term impact of what they're seeing on those front lines.
Well, that's so true. Actually, the literature is pretty clear about the work right now with COVID and how people who are on, as you explained, the front line, they're dealing with vicarious trauma or secondary traumatic stress. So they're watching the traumas as they are watching in some cases, their patients die in front of them. They're holding their hands, they're holding a cell phone to connect with families. And even if they aren't doing that particular job, they're working in clinics where people are coming in and they're saying, I'm ill, do you think I have this? So there's, people are looking for reassurance. And of course, nurses have always provided that.
So with that, is this program just for nurses that are in the program? the nursing program at Oakland University, or is this open to everyone and anyone?
Well, it'll be open for anybody as a nurse right now. And we're hoping that, we start regionally and that we already have plans to be able to go in different regions of the state and then beyond to offer it throughout the nation. So we will see.
Can you share a little bit about the program and the tips and what you're trying to get through to the nurses to be able to help them?
Sure. Well, it all begins with this mindful approach to well-being. So with mindfulness, it's really being fully present in the moment without judgment, without criticism. And it allows people to exhale, to take a deep breath, to be what is called in the literature as non-reactive. So that is going to be infused throughout the 10 hours of the program. So, for example, one of the segments is on self-compassion. So instead of a nurse perhaps saying, why am I not coping with this? So-and-so is, and I'm feeling short with people that I'm working with, I'm detaching. So it's being able to offer themselves the same kind of compassion that they're offering to patients. It deals with organizational climate. It deals with also things like how do we reframe that stress? But it doesn't mean that because it's mindfulness, it doesn't mean that we just say, oh, it's not there. Mindfulness allows us to say, this is what I'm feeling, and then go on from there.
Yeah, but I love that it's merging the scientific community with the meditative community as well, and bringing those two together to understand that we are all one and there are many facets to an individual.
Yes, that's so true. And it allows people to be able to say what they need. So for example, a nurse might just say, I need 10 minutes. And if they can't leave the ward where they're working, they maybe can even look at something like a scene in nature, like outside. It's a way of being able to do 3 quick breaths that allow them to just get back in touch with how they're doing. There's so many things that can be done.
Do you think during this pandemic, people are becoming more open to meditating and self-talk and self-care?
Well, the literature is saying that people are looking for answers. And one of the ways that they're finding that, if they look online, for example, like what do I do with this stress, they will see that mindfulness comes up like almost immediately. And it shares with them a lot that, in the past, people would say, well, I just feel so much better when I meditate, when I find a place of quiet and calm. And now we know from functional MRIs, and that comes from back to, as you were saying, the science behind it. And we know that what it does for them from watching actually brain scans and all other kinds of physiological checks that they can do with people to see what's happening to their heart rate, their blood pressure, anxiety, depression, all those things.
Karen Wells with us. She's a PhD over at the School of Education and Human Services for the Oakland University. She has helped come up with a newly developed program geared towards nurses and healthcare workers and their self-care, and trying to bring mindfulness and also meditation to help them treat themselves, but also treat our loved ones as well. With this program, I know it's kicking off in 2021. How is it actually going to work? What are the steps for people if they're interested in this?
Well, all that a person would have to do, a nurse would have to do in this case, would be to go into our oakland.edu website. And if they type in mindfulness in the search bar, it will take them to the site. And right now it's under development, so we're working on it, but within a week or two, it's going to be up. And then they will register right online. It's very convenient. And because it's self-paced, students can start it, or participants can start it immediately from that point.
Yeah, so do you have to be a student?
No, I said student because I'm so used to saying student. Forgive me for that. But it's really the nurses. I'm glad you zoned in on that.
So with that too, are there tips that the general public could take away from this program as well?
Sure. Well, what I would say is that, first of all, I have a research area in occupational stress. And so I know that it's not only nurses, that people are feeling it, like you were talking about, in the general audience. So what we would take from that is looking at what we can do to go within, because mindfulness is always like that internal side. And it's about, grounding, just feeling yourself being fully present. If we're preoccupied, if we're distracted, if we're watching our thoughts go to worry and frustration and anger and all of those kinds of things, acknowledging it, being aware of it, and then just going back to breathing. And it just allows us to just take that pause. It's a mindful pause throughout the day. So that's one thing, but that's one thing of many that actually can be done.
Karen Wells again with us. She's a PhD over at Oakland University, and just a couple more minutes here with you on the Oakland County Megacast. And do you think this pandemic is going to reinforce people's commitment to going into healthcare, or do you think some people are going to shy away from it, knowing what they and their family members could face?
Well, that's such an interesting question. And last night on the news, there was, and I don't have I can't cite the authors for this, but they announced that the law applicants, or people going into law and people going into medicine, have increased significantly. So perhaps that's the answer, that people are saying, I can serve, I can do. People look for meaning in their work. And that might be something that they say as they look at the incredible job that people are doing in medicine and saying, I could be part of that.
It's great that you're putting this program together to try to help those, because the day-to-day stress for them can be so overwhelming. And not just nurses on the front line of COVID, but so many other nurses as well. Why did you pick nurses specifically, and what do you think they're going to get out of it? How will this improve their lives?
Well, the reason for the nurses is just, watching what they're doing, listening to the different news reports. The same could be done for physicians as well, and healthcare workers. Because when they were asked in a research study what they were looking for, and there were 5 themes, and there were things like hear me, see me, protect me, prepare me. And the last thing that they said was care for me. And as I read that research report, I thought, at Oakland University, we can offer a program. I've done usually in-person trainings for over 2,000 people in mindfulness. And I just said, we could do something now online and start with nurses. And then the people through PACE, their professional and continuing education group with Lori Kroos, they just said, yes, we can do this. And then the School of Nursing through Amy Johnson said, yes, we can offer this. So it was a green light and what I call blue sky work.
Integrating our mind and our spirit and our body as one to improve everything. Thank you so much for being with us. But quickly before I let you go, anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to share with our listeners and viewers as well?
Well, I would just add to the comments that other people on your programs have added, like, for example, when you interviewed our person that works with mental health at the university. And that is, there's so much that we can do, even finding gratitude for the little things that we find every day. For example, I'm hearing from, I only teach in the graduate school, so many of them are parents, and they're saying what we're finding is that all of a sudden we are playing board games, we are going for walks. I walk my dogs every day and I see all these little puppies, and we're hearing that they're running out of dogs at shelters. So even during a time of a pandemic, there are things for which we have tremendous gratitude. And it's just looking for those. The researchers who study happiness tell us, don't try and get rid of every negative thought. Negative thoughts are there. Increase your positive to negative 3 to 1. And so that could even be a goal for a day.
That's a great lesson for all of us to learn. So thank you for sharing that with us. Karen Wells, she's a PhD over at Oakland University. We also want to say thank you to the university for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast on their Facebook page. Thank you so much for being with us, and happy holidays to you and your family as well.
Thank you. Same to you.
We are going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast, and when we come back, we will end the show on a bit of a lighter note. The owner and CEO of Tree Buddies will be joining us on the show. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green
or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on, to help stop the spread of COVID-19, wear a mask.
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 The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Great to have you with us here on the Tuesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dull in my home studios, Mr. Tyler Keith, holding things down back there in West Bloomfield. Again, I always like to remind people, because when I say I do the Oakland County Megacast, people say, what is that? Well, we are able to bring together TV, radio, and social media to bring you this show, which is dedicated out of the COVID-19 crisis, and to bring you interviews in a long interview format so that you can get information for yourself and how businesses and people and newsmakers, everyone is handling this pandemic. And just about 20 minutes or so left here in the show. And our last guest today on the Oakland County Megacast is Scott Davis. He's the owner and CEO for Tree Buddies, a funny, unique, timely Christmas tree ornament organization. And Scott, we can all use that right now.
Absolutely. Yes, we could.
This is so fun what you and your team are doing, but I'm imagining it didn't just grow out of COVID. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, so we've been in business since 2014. So we started, with the goal of just providing fun and unique Christmas ornaments. There's a lot of companies out there that just make traditional kind of mom and pop ornaments, and we wanted to do something different. We wanted to stand out. So our niche has always been, if it's not funny and it doesn't make you laugh, it has to be something unique that you've just never seen before.
Oh my God. And we all need to laugh right now. By the way, Scott, I see your Santa hat, and I raised you a Santa hat with some reindeer antlers.
I love it. It's a good look.
How do you come up with your new creations?
So we actually do all the designs in-house. Either I do them or my brother will help with them. And we really just do it old school. We take pen to paper and we draw them like that. We start that way, and we move forward from there with, going to making a 3D play mold of it. And then from there, it will be put into production.
So what has 2020 offered you? As far as it seems like maybe you're having a problem with your. That's okay.
Yeah,
your
I
earbuds.
was.
Look,
I'm sorry.
It's 2020.
They're back.
Anything goes, and we're all good. Perfection,
right,
is not needed during 2020, right? With that, what has this year offered you and your brother and your creative team in the form of unique and funny?
Yeah, sure. So sitting in front of me here is actually one of our new designs for this year. It's a full Santa sleigh ornament. So as far as the research I've done, this is the only full Santa sleigh ornament on the market. So it's pretty unique in that sense. And it's got all the reindeer. It's got Santa and his sleigh there. So that's a fun one that we've just done or just did. And then we've got all kinds of different designs. Like this one here is one of our top sellers. It's Mooning Santa. So we had a lot of fun with this one. Santa's mooning. That one does really well. So that one always puts a smile on people's faces. But we've got a lot of different designs. We've got a snowman who's upset because he's been peed on. We got a cat it's a mugshot picture of a cat. He got in trouble for knocking down the Christmas tree. We printed that one on a glass bulb. So
we need that for Tyler, his cat.
Yeah, I know what that's all about. Yeah, those two crazy cats. They're gonna have a mugshot too. Yeah, they're under arrest.
Yeah, that's a very popular item. A lot of people can relate to that one.
So I wonder too, though, because it seems like it's kind of based in reality in some of the things that are going on.
Sure.
Because so in 2020, is it kind of helped you because you see these memes on social media or people talking about these issues on social media. So do you see something and it sparks the idea where you're like, yes, we could make an ornament based off of that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of our designs are based off, and that's why we try to stay timely. It's one of those things where we see something that's relevant and we know that, the public already finds humor in it. So we'll take it and run with it. Especially something people can relate to. They're going to find it a lot more humorous, and they're more likely to buy it or gift it if it's something that they can relate to or someone in their family can relate to. So yeah, now is a good time of year to do our research for ornaments for next year. Absolutely.
Well, because ornaments are a popular thing for people to give as holiday gifts. But, I used to go to some of these parties where they'd be like, hey, bring an ornament for the tree. Those parties aren't happening this year because of COVID. So how is your business doing right now? Are sales up or are they down?
Fortunately, sales are up. Yes. We're primarily an online company. So, our customers will go to treebuddies.com and purchase from there. So, this COVID has actually, it's unfortunate what it's doing to most small businesses, but we were fortunate enough to be mainly based online already. So we still have all of that traffic. And I think people this year more than ever are spending money decorating their homes because they're spending more time at home. They're spending less money going out. So they're willing to put in a little money, decorating their house, making it look better. More people are putting up trees this year than ever before. So it's actually done pretty well for us in that sense.
So Scott, how did you guys get started in this?
So, it's funny. I if you would have rewound time and told me 10 years ago I'd be making funny Christmas ornaments, I would have thought you were crazy. But it just came to me randomly. I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I drew this picture, and it was Santa holding up a mug of beer with a big smile on his face, looking really happy. And I thought to myself, people would love that for an ornament, especially people around my age who might just be buying a tree for the first time, and they don't necessarily want the traditional ornament or just a silver glass bulb. They want something a little, something humorous where when the family and friends come over, they get a laugh out of it. So I went ahead and I just dug my feet in and figured out, how am I going to get this done? And I found a company that was willing to make them, and I sold out in my first year. So I realized right then I had something. So that was 6 years ago, and we've been running since. So now we started with 2 ornaments that year, and now we have about 200 different products we offer at this point.
Wow, that's amazing. So what advice would you give to other people? I think during COVID-19, people are reevaluating their lives, and maybe they're stuck in these corporate jobs or jobs they just don't love. So what advice would you give to them to try to reach out and make their own path?
Yeah, anyone who's looking to go for it, I say just absolutely go for it. I was working a typical 9-to-5 career type job where I could have stayed there and I would have been happy. But I wanted something more. I wanted to express my creativity. And what I had did to get started is I just started right after work. I'd work 9 to 5. I'd get home from 6 till midnight. I started this thing, and I just worked and worked and worked. And I didn't find it as I was working all day long. I felt like I was working from 9 to 5, but when I got home, I was having fun. I was enjoying it. It was more like a hobby. So if you can find something that you generally like to do, and if you can find a way to turn that into a career, absolutely give it a go. Keep your job and then do that on the side. And if it takes off, run with it.
But what were the steps that you had to take? Because it's not just coming up with the idea. You've got to follow through and make it a reality.
Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work. There's going to be a lot of Googling because no one really has the answers, right? Like I had no idea how to have a glass ornament made or a resin ornament made or even what resin was. I had to research all of that. And I just spent a lot of time on Google just figuring it all out, doing the homework. And it sounds funny to say, but really Google was the step. Or any search engine, Bing, whatever one you use. But that's what got it all started. Was just, I had so many questions, and my friends and my family, they don't have the answers for that stuff. So I just did the research. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, do you know how to make a glass ornament?
Right. Yeah. She's going to be like, excuse me?
So I think people see these stories when we do these interviews, and we're showing you on the back end of your success, but it really started with this small idea but it's the follow through and the work that goes into making it a reality.
Absolutely. It really just started with that one picture that was a goofy picture that most people would have just looked at, laughed at it for a minute, and probably thrown it away, but not me.
So tell us a little bit about your company. You said you had over 200 items now that you're selling. Can you give us what are your top 10 that's selling this year? And of course, right now, we're so close to the holidays. Can people still order things? What's that like?
Yeah, so as far as the top 10 goes, it's funny because it varies almost week by week, it seems like, with what people are buying. But the Mooning Santa one that I showed was definitely in our top 10. The one I mentioned with the cat knocking down the Christmas tree, that one's in the top 10. We've got some other bulbs that have common sayings during Christmas time, like, "Are you serious, Clark?" Or "You'll shoot your eye out." We've got those bulbs always do really well. They're pop culture themed bulbs that do really well. We have a Thor's hammer ornament that's done really well for us.
Wait a minute. Did you just say you had a Thor's hammer ornament?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We need to talk after the show.
Absolutely. That one did really, really well for us this year. It was new for this year, and we've actually almost sold out.
Well, if you have one left, I may need to be a customer, but I'm hoping my husband's not watching this right now.
Yeah, and then to go to the second point, as far as being able to get it in time for Christmas, it's funny being online. You would think we have a vast reach, but most of our customers actually are Michiganders, and our biggest customer reach actually, or our customer base, is right here in Rochester, our own hometown. So if you order you're in Michigan, there is a good chance you'll get it before Christmas, but the post office is just really, really backed up this time of year. So it doesn't hurt to pay a little extra for expedited shipping.
So with us right now on the Oakland County Megacast, Scott Davis, he's the owner and CEO of Tree Buddies. I will ask you, when you're designing these, is any thought process going into the chick tree versus the man tree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got to try to cover everybody for sure. So we definitely try to appeal to all different senses of humor and what the different people are going to be after. So we want to relate with everyone to some extent with our different designs. So yeah, there's definitely thought into that. You know, when you shop with us, you can select gifts for him, gifts for her, things like that. We've got all kinds, gifts for pet lovers, whatever it might be, sports. We've got an ornament that does really well. It's a disking ornament for those of who like to disc golf. It's Santa, and he's throwing the disc, and it comes with the little basket alongside of it. So yeah, we've got really unique designs, but they're really tailored to everyone, to something that everyone will enjoy, and to make sure that both the chick tree and the man tree are both covered.
It seemed like the disc golf went out a few years ago, but no.
No, it's still a really big seller for us. We're almost sold out. We actually shipped out a bunch today, so I guess it's alive and well.
So Scott, you're a young guy, and I don't know if you're married or not, but obviously the conversation in a lot of homes is like, for us, even my wrapping paper needs to match the decor if it's going under the tree. If it doesn't match, it doesn't get to go under the tree. So when you're talking about, my husband collects comics, and he had all these comic book ornaments. No, it doesn't go on the tree. So you have to do a separate tree, small tree, for those type of ornaments. But if you could combine the two, where it was some type of pretty chick ornament and a cool man ornament, you would have, you would solve so many family arguments. You just don't know. You'd be the hero.
Well, you mentioned we need to talk after the show for the Thor's Hammer. I think we need to discuss some product designs with you after the show. I could use your help with that.
Is it crazy that we go through this? But I can tell you, every woman goes through the same argument. We did settle, though. He is allowed to put colored lights outside, and that's only because it helps me win the neighborhood Christmas decorating award.
There you go.
So what do you think is going to be your big design next year? Can you give us a sneak peek?
Well, we've got a bunch of different things in the works, but it's tough to say what's going to be the big winner. Every year I come up with this design, I think, oh, we're going to sell a bunch of these. And then I've got another one where it's like, we'll try it and it probably won't do well. And of course, it's the one that I don't think that's going to do well that ends up being the top seller. And the one I think that's going to sell really well, that doesn't perform that. It's funny how they flip-flop around. But we do have some fun things in the works. One of them that I'm most excited about is, if you've seen the Star Wars movies from the original trilogy, there's the frozen in carbonite, the Han Solo when he gets frozen. Well, we did a rendition of it where it's Santa who's frozen in carbonite. And that's what I'm really excited about. I think that one's going to be a top seller for us in 2021.
That's awesome. 10 seconds left. Can you give us quickly your website if people still want to order something?
Absolutely. It's treebuddies.com.
Well, and spell Tree Buddy is not the typical spelling though.
That's correct. Tree Buddies is spelled Tree and then Buddees. So it's EE instead of IE, but you can also go to IES and it will still take you to the same site.
That's awesome. It's been so fun having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Good luck to you and your team and your brother this holiday season.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all of you as well. That's going to wrap it up here for the Oakland County Megacast. For Tyler and myself, we want to say thank you for tuning in. And we also want to say thank you to Larry, Jake, and Erica back at the station for helping us get today's Megacast on the air.